Gay. We gotta talk about gay again. Tucker Carlson cannot get the gay out the brain.
Why are you gay?
And he did an interview with Piers Morgan, and it's like I feel as if I'm going back in time into some weird bizarro world where Tucker and Piers is the good guy in this, weird. But later I'll show you Tucker's still doing this should we really have fought the Nazis thing. But in this clip, he's trying to argue the propaganda's gang people thing, which I thought we settled that a long time ago. That's not the case. And he says a bunch of incorrect things. And before I show you this, the reason I shouted that over and over is because you would be shocked how much this topic comes up on Tucker Carlson's show. Like, to me, we have all these massive issues we're facing. And I thought that the American consciousness had moved past doubting the legitimacy of people's sexuality. Like, I thought that was we moved past that. Now we're debating about other things. Tucker is still stuck on that. Like, real bad.
Have you noticed that, like, a huge percentage of war-crazed Republican senators are secretly gay? What is that?
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gay, but it would be okay if I was.
Or like Tim Walz is very obviously gay. I look at him and I'm like, well, you're gay. Have you ever slept with dudes? Like,
I smoked crack with Barack Obama and had sex with him.
And Nick Fuentes, this weird little gay kid in his basement. I'm sorry I called you gay, by the way. What is porn exactly? Do you remember Pete Buttigieg? He's supposedly gay. One of my producers was gay and he goes, he's not gay.
Gay was a slur. All of a sudden it becomes mandatory to worship at the altar of gayness or whatever. Trans stuff. Sodomy, we're pride, all this stuff. That was not a thing.
So it's just on his mind a lot, and usually it's little side comments, which fine. He's still exploring a concept that he struggles to understand. Okay. Now he really got the time and the space to lay out what is the typical Tucker model, which is you don't actually say what you're saying, but you just ask questions to passively assert what you're saying. And so anytime Piers tries to trap, wait, are you then saying gay is not a real thing? Or then Tucker goes, I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying, and so let's just take this piece by piece. I can't, because of my concern with what it would do to the YouTube video, play the most famous part of this now, which is him just going, F slur, F slur, F slur, F slur. But you've probably seen that somewhere. He really wanted to get Piers to say the F slur. And he was, again, kind of reverting to a little kid. Like, why can't I say this? Why can't I say this? You can say it. And also, words have meaning. And so people will then interpret it in a certain way based on the context of how you're saying it. That's it. You can say whatever you want. And then other people can react to what you say. So here's the conversation. Click the subscribe button. We have a lot to go through in this segment. I appreciate it. Look at this. Wow. The majority of our viewers are not subscribed. Breaking my heart. What does that make me gay?
What's wrong with homosexuality?
Well, if you encourage it and the rate goes up, people have fewer kids. I don't know. Did you do biology?
Well, no.
So
just to be clear, most gay people don't have kids.
That's the point I'm making.
Right, they don't.
So if all of a sudden you have more people being gay, which you do,
what? No, you don't. People don't pretend to be gay.
Do you have the internet?
Huh?
I don't know. I'm not saying they're pretending. I'm saying you've
gay.
got way more.
You're gay, right?
Well, you know, we used to say that, but
you don't think so?
Well, I used to think that, but all of a sudden I
think lots of people putting their hand up saying they're trans. That's a different issue.
Oh, it's totally different. It's not part of the continuum. It's not like gender isn't real. Actually, I can pretend.
But if you're gay, you're gay.
Okay, let's stop there, and then we'll pick up there with the if you're gay, you're gay. And again, I want to make sure y'all understand where I'm coming from on this. I don't even think we should treat this with much seriousness, because we won on this issue. And I think that Tucker comes off silly, almost trying to, for his own viral pursuit, relevance pursuit, is trying to like rehash one of the best culture wars for Republicans that they got so much airtime out of, but they've lost on it. And I just find this silly. it's just silly that this is so presently on his mind constantly. And I don't really think anyone needs to give him the outrage that he's hoping to stimulate. But what's funny is if you actually listen to what he's saying, he doesn't even understand what it is that he's arguing. Like there he goes, it's not like it's on the continuum of gender isn't real, so you can be what, and it's like, wait, what? Gender? What how we interpret gender is a very different conversation than how people or what people are attracted to. Now there's a crossover, sure, but it's funny because he then threw out the side issue of like, is gender real or not? Which is very detached from how are people born into the world attracted to different things. The sexuality versus gender identity distinction that I think he just got confused about. Pretty separate conversations, and then interconnected in some ways.
But if you're gay, you're gay.
Well, we were told that, and I believed a lot of things.
Do you not believe that?
Well, it's demonstrably not true because science tells us it's not true.
People are making it up.
I don't think they're making it up at all.
So what's your point?
I think that you can be moved in that direction through propaganda and pornography.
Oh, come off it, Tucker.
Well, then how do you explain?
Is there anything that would make you... Could I make you gay?
How hard do you want to try?
Not hard, I can tell you.
Good. That's the spirit, Piers. There's a limit. Even an open-minded man like you kind of hate the gays.
Could I make you gay?
I make a little gay joke and you're like, oh, I'm not going to be gay. No.
Why are you using a gay slur? That's fine.
So now we'll stop there. You see what I mean? I can't remember if it's in the clip that I have for you here or a different part. I watched a bunch of it, but at points Piers would be like, so you're against people. It's not, you can't be against homosexuality as a concept, but you could be against people living as homosexual or acting on their sexuality. And so he'll kind of ask, so are you against it? Is that what you're saying? You condemn it? And then Tucker's like, no, I didn't say that. But just there, you can kind of hear that he's going, see, even you, Piers, hate them. And it's like, whoa, wait, is that what you're arguing? Watch that part again.
Could I make you gay?
This is, honestly, for all of Tucker's faults, this is a funny response.
How hard do you want to try?
Pretty good. And then the rest of it's great. I wish I could have thought of that.
Not hard, I can tell you.
Good. That's the spirit, Piers. There's a limit. Even an open-minded man like you kind of hate the gays.
Could I make you gay?
I make a little gay joke and you're like, oh, I'm not going to be gay. No.
Why are you using a gay slur? That's fine.
Well, first of all, the context matters. As I've told you, I mean, that's like coffee table conversation between the gays I work with at Fox. So if it's okay with them, it's okay with me. It's just it's sort of like racism. Only the whites are upset about it.
You don't actually think people can be persuaded to be gay?
Well,
only whites are upset about racism? Aren't y'all the ones who are really spouting off about racism lately? You're saying it's all anti-white racism? Isn't that funny that I've said it before, but it's like for so many years, people speaking about racism was, according to the Tuckers of the world, cringe, and y'all are getting obsessed with DEI, and you want it to be racial and not merit-based, and your victimhood mindset, and everything's racial. And then 3 seconds after saying that, they're like, and also white people are the ones who are subjected to the worst racism. And that we should talk about, and they are the victims. It's like, whoa, you spun around really quickly on that.
Then why don't you explain the twofold or threefold increase in self-identified homosexuals in the United States?
I can. They used to be repressed. They used to be illegal in this country until the mid-60s. Mm-hmm. You literally went to jail.
So all through history.
Hang on. You literally were put in a prison cell if you were openly homosexual.
That was more here, actually. You guys did Oscar Wilde. We didn't. But
it was
you
terrible.
also...
Absolutely shocking.
Yeah, it was terrible. You ruled the world at the time, and now you're a joke. Dependent on foreign banks.
And you think that's because...
But everyone's gay, so it's like a great trade.
Allowing gay people to be openly...
Oh my gosh. It's so weird. But again, he is such a coward. That's the main part. He is such a coward. He's about to go on and talk about how gayness is diminishing masculinity. I think a part of masculinity that people think of as a positive trait of masculinity is bravery, standing on your 2 feet with some principle, right? And he is the least likely to do that. He is the most emasculated in his bravery or lack thereof of anyone I've ever seen, where he doesn't have the balls. Let's just use the language, okay? Let's do it. It fits into this nicely. To say, here's what I'm actually arguing. He's just spouting out a bunch of random stuff and laughing hysterically. But anytime he's confronted to actually illustrate, so what is it that you're saying? What is your argument? You're against people living how they are, who they are? Or you think we should ban certain type of content? He said people are being gayed by pornography and propaganda. But then he won't actually stake out a position because he's a coward.
Got to get his balls back.
Thank you, Roseanne. And I'm going to address his people are getting so gay argument. He's actually wrong, which is interesting. But even if he weren't, he would still be a coward who's just kind of trying to do weird dog whistles and arouse people's rage, we'll say. And then I love how he goes, England, the empire, the British Empire declined because of gay. That's kind of what but then if you said, are you arguing that the decline of the British Empire was because of gayness? He would go, I didn't say that. Because he doesn't even know what he believes.
Great trade.
So allowing gay people to be openly gay is why we wrecked our
Mocking
country.
masculinity is the fastest way
different issue.
to servitude.
Totally different
Ask
issue.
any Pakistani. That's why I like the
Totally different
Pakistanis here.
issue.
You talk to a Pakistani cab driver and you're like, why are you gay? And they will start laughing because they've watched the video and they're like, I'm not gay. I'm a man.
What's it got to do with
Ask
masculinity?
a single Briton, why are you gay? They'd be like, well, I'm not gay, but it would be okay if I was. And it's like, there's no masculine self-respect at all.
You're sounding quite homophobic.
I'm not afraid of gays at all. I'm just asking, actually,
You don't actually think they really exist by the sound of it.
well, they exist.
No, but are they real? Is their sexuality genuinely?
Are they
homosexual?
sleeping with dudes?
Are
Big
they,
time.
Well,
Big-
women, are they attracted to members of the...
So ridiculous. He's a clown. He is a clown. And he's performing for people who like to watch the clown perform for him. That's all it is. You heard it. That's it. That shtick, people find it entertaining. And so he doesn't actually have to lay out. So here's my view. Y'all hear me constantly out. Here's my principles. And then here's where I think an ideal world could be if we abided by those principles. And I can explain, here's why I think people being able to proudly live as who they are is a positive asset to society. And that's what I believe. And here's why I believe it. Here's the evidence I'm going to bring to back it up. Here's how I'd argue against someone saying I'm wrong. But you know exactly what it is. I'm going to say what it is that I believe. He just likes to be a clown and kind of passively insult people or make his audience through questions and giggles think, oh, maybe empires fall because of gay. I don't know. He didn't really lay out why that would be or what the evidence is supporting it, but sounds kind of funky and fun. And I don't like gay people, so okay, that's kind of cool. I'll believe that. But then if you pressed him, all right, make your argument, he would go, whoa, I didn't say that was the argument. But a Pakistani cab driver would say, I'm not gay, I'm a man.
Honestly,
Right,
dudes, the lesbian thing is way overblown.
Actually, there are a lot of lesbians.
How many?
I haven't counted, Tucker.
I love this conversation.
Not recently.
This is so great. You're going to get so fucking arrested after this. It's going to be
No,
unbelievable.
no one's arresting me.
Okay.
No one's arresting me. But I'm just curious whether you think that gay people
Let me.
actually are gay, or whether you think they've been somehow turned.
For the third time, I think it's completely sincere.
Right.
Completely sincere.
So what's your problem
the
with it?
question, I'm not saying I have a problem with it. I'm merely saying you get fewer children when more people are gay.
No, you don't.
Well,
Of course
actually, you do.
More people aren't gay. Just more people are able
You
to
don't
admit
get.
they're gay.
Oh, but hold on. You don't get
There were
fewer.
always
Well, hold
gay
on. Wait,
people.
stop. Okay. Was it like 30% of the population always, like in Roman times? Or about 30%, would you say?
He thinks 30% of the population's gay. No wonder he's like, Obama's gay. By the way, that clip was not him saying he had sex with Obama. Crap. It was silly that way. But he was speaking from the point of view of the guy falsely saying that happened with Obama, and why he thinks Tim Walz is, and why he thought Nick Fuentes was. Well, that one, okay. And why but then for some reason thinks Pete Buttigieg is not, and he's faking it. So if you think 30% of the population is, I guess that makes a little more sense where you're coming from.
I'm just saying.
No,
It's like 2 to 3%, by the way, in case you're curious. 2 to 3%. It's an epidemic. Oh my gosh. And let me say that now. We can watch a little bit more. What he's thinking of. See, I know what he's trying to argue more than he seems to. What he's thinking of is headlines like this. More Americans identify as LGBTQ plus than ever before. Poll finds. And this is where they get into this kind of spiral. Is they'll see headlines like this and they'll see, a surge of 9% of Americans now from 3.5% identify as some letter in LGBTQ plus. But did I kind of just answer it there? Can you kind of already hear what I'm about to say? If we're going LGBTQIA plus and there's a plus in addition to all the other ones, it makes sense that as you add more ways for people to identify that are more about how you define certain aspects of your identity, that then more people are going to go, oh yeah, that describes one of those letters, some placement of my identity. But his argument's not that. It's not about, there it goes back. My monitor went out. It's not about, we're adding too many ways for people to describe, or he's not even talking about trans or non-binary. He's specifically saying homosexuality is surging. And that, unfortunately, a lot of these polls do just ask people any LGBTQ, which is like, it's hard to then know exactly which subcategory we're even talking about. But this one, I think, had it around 2 to 3%. Let's see. Yeah. 2% were gay, 1.4% were lesbian. So you hear what he's saying? And then I looked and it was like in 2021, this is from ChatGPT, because again, a lot of these don't specify exactly just gay or lesbian to address specifically what he's saying and more do the large category. But 2021 was 2.1%. 2025 was 2%. So, and then when it was more stigmatized, maybe you got down to like 1%, and maybe some polls get you up to like 3% of specifically gay or lesbian. And that immediately debunks what he's saying. And even if there were some huge surge, I guess you could say there's a surge. Back in 2005, maybe it was 1.2%. Piers' argument does kind of explain it, right? As it's gone from illegal to not legal to have gay marriages to legalize gay marriages, it's going to be much more, that's whatever the actual percentage is going to more be filled of people willing to publicly say so. But it doesn't represent some change. And the fact that it's still that 2 to 3% realm, according to the polls that I could quickly find while prepping for this. And that apparently we saw a little bit of a decrease between some of the years, demonstrates that if you then run that parallel to the surge in, I'd say, positive messaging, more people out there publicly celebrating people for being who they are as it pertains to sexuality, but you don't see a proportional spike in specifically gay or lesbian identification, immediately his argument falls apart. Because we've seen 10-fold, 20-fold, 30-fold media exhibits that are more positive now about homosexuality compared to 30 years ago or 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. And you haven't seen 10-fold, 20-fold, 30-fold increase in homosexuality. So he's wrong on the evidence he tried to bring and the underlying assumption, really regardless of what evidence he brought, can be refuted with what Piers said about as societies change their openness to something like who people are, who they're attracted to, you're going to see more people willing to say their truth.
It's like this is
the falling birth rates have nothing to do with
if you have
gay
more
people.
If you have more gays, do you have fewer children?
We don't have more gays.
We've got way more gays.
No. We have more people who are not afraid to say they're gay.
They're letting their freak flag fly.
They are actually gay, Tucker. They just haven't been able to admit it.
So why isn't that the case like in Asia?
What do you mean?
I don't think there's no Asian country, and they're not all like putting gays in jail. Malaysia might be. Korea's not. South Korea. Why is their self-described homosexuality rate so much lower than yours? Japan, same.
Because culturally, it is not a thing.
So it's
admit you're
genetic.
gay.
You think it's genetic?
No, it's cultural.
No. People become gay.
But last World Cup.
Wait, but how?
Yeah, it's complicated, and we don't have an exact certain answer on it. But again, I feel weird in the year of our Lord 2025, still arguing this. Were you born that way or not? Let's get Lady Gaga in here, sing the song. There's genetic components, but then they go, so you're saying there's a gay gene? And it's like, okay, you understand the complexities of someone's biological makeup and how that impacts complicated things like what you're attracted to and love. Love is so complicated. And then there could be a combination of factors. A gay gene. So that's Tucker's gay thing. And of course, I do have to play this again whenever he, in that compilation I showed you, said that now we're forced to worship at the altar of sodomy. It created probably my favorite thing that Cole has ever put together. This trailer.
40 years ago, gay was a slur. All of a sudden it becomes mandatory to worship at the altar of gayness or whatever. Trans stuff, sodomy, pride, all this stuff. That was not a thing.
This summer, Jackhammer stars in worshiping at the altar of sodomy. Out this summer. From the creators of Stuck in a Washing Machine. Worshiping at the altar of sodomy. Starring Tucker Carlson. From the creators that brought you the running faucet. This summer, worshiping at the altar of sodomy. Best. Just the best thing ever. Come on. Now, I saw someone post this. Eric said, reminder that in high school, I think it might have been in college, but Tucker Carlson listed himself as a member of the Dan White Society, named after the man who shot and killed Harvey Milk, the first openly gay elected official. You can look at this photo, I guess from high school or college. Look at Tucker. You can just tell.
Why are you gay?
No, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. I'm just saying you can tell he was going to be the most annoying person eventually. There's just something. I'm not against bow ties, but why is your bow tie the size of a baby's bow tie? Look at how tiny his bow tie is. It's like those little cute bow ties you put on a little kid going to his first Sunday mass. It's just horrific. And his hair has not changed since he was 19. Look, how is his hairstyle still the same? It's bonkers. So that's disturbing. Also disturbing, Tucker really doesn't like that we and that England attacked the Nazis.
Did Germany attack Britain? Is that how you got into a war with Germany?
Germany attacked Poland.
Oh, but not the UK.
No.
Oh, okay. Because that does
they
get
wanted.
lost.
They wanted.
So you voluntarily joined the war.
Yes.
Okay, right. I'm not defending Hitler, of course, but it's just a fact that you weren't attacked. So when you say that Churchill saved Britain, well, Britain got into the war voluntarily.
Well, not voluntarily. One of our neighbouring European countries was attacked, and it was quite clear that Adolf Hitler and the Nazis wanted to take over Europe. This was an existential threat to Europe and therefore to the UK. So
you're arguing that he would have come for the UK?
100%.
Even though
I think it's very naive.
Your politicians and there's like not one person who was saying that in 1939-40.
Well, no, Neville Chamberlain wasn't, because he totally misread what was going on. Winston Churchill.
There were people who were saying it, by the way. He just asserts those things with full confidence.
Completely read correctly what was going on and came out of the wilderness to actually come and save us. I think
you signed a treaty with Poland that locked you into a course of action that destroyed your country. I'm just saying.
You don't honestly think the Nazis would have stopped at Poland?
Look, I'm just going by what contemporaneous sources said. I have no idea.
See, why are we listening to you? You don't seem to know any of the points you kind of want to make. You just don't. You just have now done 4 segments maybe on your show about how Was it even good that we beat the Nazis? I don't know. But then you confront all that and you go, I was just asking. And whenever England saw the threat posed by an expansionist, invasionist Nazi Germany, because they were doing that, they did enter into a defensive agreement with Poland. And so the Nazi Germany invading Poland, understanding that sort of like NATO, that would be also triggering a response from the UK, was an active invasionist provocation, war-starting move by Nazi Germany. So even his attempt to like shift blame to, well, you could have just let him do what he wanted to do until it got to you, not to mention the geopolitical reasons that as Europe was conquered by the Nazis, the national defense strategic interest of the UK would have been heavily diminished, and they would have been put at risk even more. So there's plenty of reasons aside from now what we know about Nazi Germany, plenty of reasons for obviously the decision that was made there. And it was the invading by Nazi Germany that prompted even the series of events.
Invaded Russia, so obviously that's deranged and incredibly destructive. So I don't
listen to this again. Obviously, what Tucker's saying is trying to invade Russia, the Soviet Union, was deranged strategically. But there's something that's so Tuckery about going, hey, what was the big deal? Okay, so he had been invading European countries and then he went for Poland and you're like, oh, all upset about it. It's weird. Well, Hitler did try to invade Russia. So never mind, you're right. He's pretty bad. It's like his Russia love pops through there in this weird way.
Contemporaneous sources said, I have no idea. Hitler invaded Russia, so obviously that's deranged and
deranged.
Incredibly destructive. So I don't know is the truth. He was focused on communism. No one doubts that. This was not a communist country. But I'm just saying Britain voluntarily joined the war. It was a war that you were not involved in and you got in. But my question is, why did it destroy Britain? I don't understand. As the victor nation.
It didn't destroy Britain.
And then that gets to the next part of his argument. We've gone through a bunch of times. I don't need to relitigate it. But the whole, were we even better off in a post-World War II world where the Nazis were defeated? What was the victory there? A regime that was actively had the intentions and was actively acting on the intentions to conquer Europe, or at least a big chunk of it, while it was massacring its people as well, and the people that it would conquer. So stopping that regime, what was even good about that? There's things I don't like in the world now, so that must have been a bad outcome, is kind of the Tucker talking point that he'll never actually stand by. Now, Piers did, an all right job there. But he's still Piers, and he went on Jubilee, which y'all know I did this show, the 1v20 Surrounded, and it was Piers Morgan versus 20 woke students, I guess. Let's see.
Am I powering?
Sucking out.
The wokies are around me.
Stop
express their emotions in a positive way is literally participation trophies not being there.
Advantages are annoying. Look,
Have you been on your own show? You interrupted me the whole time, and now you're just getting the same thing.
So me telling you that you are spreading misinformation, that is not fascism. That is just me telling you you're wrong.
but you're not telling me I'm wrong because I'm right. My first surrounded claim is that masculinity has never been toxic. My next surrounding claim is that woke ideology is anti-liberal and fascistic. My next surrounding claim is that gender-neutral pronouns are pointless. My final surrounding claim is that cancel culture is real and a serious threat to free speech. Hi, I'm Piers Morgan, and I'm the host of Piers Morgan Uncensored on YouTube. I'm also the author of a new book, Woke is Dead, and today I'm surrounded by 20 apparently still alive woke liberals.
Okay, so here's what I was thinking about with this. Number one, I don't care. I don't care. That's point like 1 through 4. We're going to debate toxic masculinity right now. Are you looking at the world? We're going to debate cancel culture's effect on free speech right now. Have you seen what's been happening to free speech? I think there's more pressing issues. That was, again, you got used to, Piers. You got used to the privileged moment we all had where we got to debate wokeism and masculinity because we all kind of knew, despite what you were saying, that Biden's governance was going to be fine and that he wasn't going to light the whole country on fire. And so we all got to have fun and go, debate all these different things. You have too many nose rings, Polyamorous, what? Pansexual, huh? We got to sit and argue about those things because Biden was just going to whatever. He was going to do his thing. Whereas Trump's administration's actually ripping things apart. And so it makes it a little bit cute and silly to me to talk about toxic masculinity. And also that claim's funny because masculinity has never been toxic. I get did messaging around toxic masculinity go too far and make people feel alienated for being manly? And like, if you want to be manly, shoot. But, and I do get that. But it's never toxic? What do we mean? I guess he'll try to lay that out in the episode, but I feel like you could have some versions of it that goes too far. Woke ideology is anti-liberal and fascist. That's the other part I wanted to address. I've been reprimanded on his show by him for calling Trump a fascist, which I actually rarely do. I try to describe what it is that he does that I find authoritarian and dangerous because of the extra weight that gets attached to fascism, and everyone just starts thinking Hitler, and they get distracted and confused. So I actually use different language most of the time, but I will defend people's description of some of his policies as inspired by a fascistic ideology. And you remember, Jaden, am I going crazy? Y'all remember me sitting on that panel and him going, they're calling him Hitler. They're calling him Hitler, Luke. There were Jewish people in the crowd. You remember that? They called it a Hitler rally. Oh, I can hear it ringing in my ears. How could you call him that? And I don't have a great, sorry. We love. I just, no, I try to do the impressions. Sometimes I botch them like that. But you're saying that college students who are having discussions about gender it's more justifiable to call them fascist than a president who's really authoritarian? That seems weird. I thought we weren't supposed to use that term, Piers. Then gender neutral pronouns are pointless. Okay. Again, what a quaint debate to have. Cancel culture is real and a serious threat to free speech, and I addressed that before. So that's what he's up to, because he's trying to sell his book, Woke is Dead, and no one cares about it. I'm sure it's selling fine, but my point is, who cares about that right now? Really? Yeah, I mean, some of the right-wing freak out about wokeness was just totally irrational and crazy. Some things you would describe as a part of that woke movement definitely became too extreme and wacky and pushed people away from liberal ideas. But that's a Biden era debate. Now, if we can get back to having a government that actually is normal and does normal stuff, then maybe we could get back to those fun culture war screaming matches. Then, because we talked about Tucker, one other little clip of him.
And on the Republican Party, which is almost to the point where it's just useless, and I'm going to have to oppose it because I hate them too much, but because they're such betrayers. But anyway, in the Republican Party, it's like, you a socialist? Are you from Mondani? No, not really a socialist. Just, I don't want any more dollar stores. I don't want high density housing in my neighborhood. I don't want any more fucking strip malls that nobody goes to. No more karate studios and vape shops. Like, how about no? Oh, you socialist? You don't believe in the free market? Because you bribed a fucking county commissioner to build more garbage? You don't even live here? Mm-hmm. In a normal society, we'd like burn your strip mall down. You can't do that here. You can't turn my women into prostitutes. Sorry, OnlyFans. And you can't destroy the landscape that I live in. No. How about no? That's not crazy, is it?
No, it's not. I mean,
No.
And you can't take all my tax dollars and then refuse to do anything about child molestation.
Molestation? Only a child molester would pronounce it that way, Tucker. Molestation. So he might be talking about Epstein. I'm not saying I disagree with him on that point. I'm just saying he pronounced it weird. So here's what's confusing about that. He's going, in the Republican Party, they call everyone socialist. True. So that's a true critique that it gets a little bit, it's a tired insult. Socialist. Often when the people presenting ideas that they're calling socialist are just normal policy reforms in a capitalistic system that is regulated, as it always will be. But then he tries to substantiate his point. Again, I don't think he has at all. Whoa. That startled me. A clear worldview. I don't think he has a clear worldview. Because what does he mean by high density housing in his neighborhood? What? That's like the not in my backyard stuff, which is very against the pro-working class aesthetic he's trying to now flip into after being the bow tie rich boy his whole life. What a weird way to say, they try to call me socialist for just wanting to improve the country, but I just don't want to see dollar stores or high density housing. It's like, actually, yeah, we need more housing. That's a part of what? You want for your bougie suburb to not be hindered as a bunch of people don't have an affordable house to live in. That's what it sounds like you're saying, which is completely against what the socialists would be saying, which he's acting like he's more cozied up to. I'm very disoriented. He does this whole, the elites are keeping you down, right? Stuff that's true. And they just care about their own wealth and power, and that's why they take your tax dollars, but they still don't address child molestation or homelessness or affordability problems, and they're screwing you over in the Republican Party. And it's kind of like, okay, all right, here we go. Maybe he's getting on a message that works better. And he goes, and that's why I'm so sick of making more affordable housing. I don't want to see a dumb house in my neighborhood that's not $5 million. What is it that you think you're arguing?